My name is Syaidatul Binti Samsuri. I'm going to present to you legitimacy of children. Basically, a child born before 6 months of the marriage is considered an illegitimate child. However, the father can acknowledge such a child to change the legitimacy status, while a child born after 6 months of the marriage is legitimate unless the father disclaimed it by the use of the aunt. An illegitimate child is one who is born by an act which is unlawful according to Hukum Syara. The Hadith say, "There shall be no legitimacy except in wedlock, and the adulterer has nothing but punishment and repentance." Paternity in Islam may be established through first one, which is by marriage. It is provided in section 110 till 113 in Islamic Family Law Act, while the second way is by acknowledgement. In theory, it is not a process of legitimation but a formal recognition of status of a legitimacy and only applicable in cases of uncertainty. It is provided in section 114 till 119 in Islamic Family Law Act.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Suffiya with Bakar. My Matric number is 053025. The issues that arise regarding a legitimate child are: can a Muslim child that born to unmarried parents inherit the property? According to Section 11 Clause 1 of the Legitimacy Act 1961, where on or after the prescribed date the mother of an illegitimate child, the child not being a legitimate person, dies instead as respect all or any of her property and does not leave any legitimate issue surviving her, the illegitimate child, or if he is dead, his issue shall be entitled to take any interest therein to which he or his issue would have been entitled if he had been born legitimate. Obviously, children and fathers, the man who caused his mother to become pregnant, cannot inherit each other. In simpler words, if the child does not inherit the inheritance of his father, and likewise, the father does not inherit the inheritance of his child. However, the illegitimate child did not lose contact with his mother. In fact, the two can inherit from each other. If the mother dies, she can inherit the mother's property and vice versa. Therefore, based on Legitimacy Act 1961, illegitimate child can only inherit property with the following three conditions. The first one, inherited property belongs to the mother. The second one, the mother dies without a will. And the last one, the mother has no other legitimate offspring. Here arises a discrepancy between civil law and Sharia law. According to civil law, if the parents later get married, they can apply to confirm the child's status after officially registering their marriage. This is subject to the same act, namely Section 4 of the Legitimacy Act. Meanwhile, from the point of view of Islamic law, the child is still considered as an illegitimate child even though both parents are married. And so with the law of inheritance, the child and the father still do not inherit each other. So for the solution, therefore, in order to not complicate the situation, the father of the illegitimate child can preserve the interests of the child. They can make a will that clearly states the child's rights to inherit the property that left behind.
Hi, my name is Noor Irdina Izzaty with Rizal. I'm going to explain about the second issue. Who is the responsible for the maintenance nafkah and the custody hardener of illegitimate children? We go to the implication. Usually, after the birth of an illegitimate child, the first thing that will be arise is the custody and the maintenance of a child. Generally, the custody of the child will be given to the mother. Islamic law requires every woman who gives birth to an illegitimate child to take care of the child. The obligation is in line with the views among the jurists Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali agree to recognize the mother and the grandmother of mother's side are more entitled to Hadona. In Malaysia, Muslim family law provides that the mother or relative of the mother is the one who has the right to take care of an illegitimate child. There is no provision in the law that empowers the Sharia court to oblige the biological father or his family to take care of the child because father has no lineage with the illegitimate child. Next, we go to the solution. Firstly, a mother or relative of a mother who refused or disqualified from taking care of illegitimate child can submit it to adoptive family. Secondly, if the child can make his own decision to stay in any welfare institution and refuse to stay with relative or adoptive family, Sharia court can order the authorities to provide care for illegitimate child under Section 87 Clause 1 of Kedah Islamic Family Law Enactment 2008. Next, KPWKM, whose role is to protect the rights of women, families and society fairly without elements of discrimination and strengthen family institutions. Last but not least, JKM has a special provision to support illegitimate children by caring for them since childhood in the children's home called RKK. They are given formal and informal education.
My name is Siti Balqish Binti Fakrul Shiha. My matric number is 053019. The issue that arises regarding illegitimate child is should an illegitimate child has equal rights similar to other children? By the 20th century, there was a large increase in the number of unwed couples having children. As a result, many states amended their laws to give non-marital children the right to inherit property through one or both parents. Some states, however, retained laws that limited the legal rights of an illegitimate child. In Islam, an illegitimate child cannot inherit from his biological father due to dissolution of the child's lineage. The child can only inherit from his mother and his mother's family. Implication: abandoning an illegitimate child will cause a lot of negative behavior among the children. The society will insult or treat the illegitimate child differently than other children. Solution: an illegitimate child should be given a protection, financial support, food and drink, shelter, clothing, healthcare and welfare. They also should get to be raised well and deserve to be loved by their own parents. Mostly important, they should be given effective religious education and protection from psychological and emotional stress from some people who despise their position. In Section 80 Clause 1 of Islamic Family Law Act 1984, Federal Territory, if a woman neglects or refuses to maintain her illegitimate child who is unable to maintain himself or herself other than a child born as a result of rape, the court, upon due proof thereof, may order the woman to make such monthly allowance as the court thinks reasonable. So it means even though the illegitimate childbirth mother refuses to take care of her child, the child should get financial support from her. The society should accept the illegitimate child because they have no mistakes. It's their parents who make the mistakes. So the society should not continue to label and comparing an illegitimate child with other children.
My name is Badrul Munir bin Muhammad Yazari and my matric number is 053023. The issue arises is, can an illegitimate child be married by her own biological father? If the child is female and ready for marriage, the marriage should be with the guardian, and the trustee is entitled to be nasab of the man beginning with the father, grandfather and so on. As a child born out of wedlock does not have nasab with the biological father, The biological father is not entitled to be guardian for him. Guardian of the woman is an absolute requirement according to Mazhab Shafi'i. Imam al-Bayjuri mentioned that marriage without a guardian and two witnesses is revoked because the trustee is a legitimate requirement of marriage. Sultan will be a guardian if she does not have guardian or nasab. Therefore, the illegitimate child has no nasab guardian of the father party, so that the guardian for her is Sultan. Application: the marriage for the illegitimate child will not be a valid marriage. Solution: Sultan is the one that can be guardian for a legitimate child because her biological father cannot be her guardian because there are no nasab between them.
As a conclusion, Islam emphasizes legitimate offspring from a valid marriage, wherein a child will have rights such as the right to inherit, maintenance, the father's right to act as guardian of the child, and property until maturity, as well as prohibition of its marriage with his sibling, among others. An illegitimate child can only be related to his mother and has no relationship with the biological father. The Islamic Family Law Act 1984 provides that the custody of illegitimate children appertains exclusively to the mother and her relation.